Hello and welcome to Reboot Retail 1.0. We have Mr. Ashok Khurana, and you can switch on your video. We are,
I'm just joining you.
yeah, perfectly fine. And let me walk through this.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, Mr. Yogesh.
Very good afternoon. Very good afternoon. So it's pleasure, Mr. Khurana, to have you on our episode 8.
Thank you.
And
it's my pleasure to be here.
Yeah, and I'll just give you a little brief and welcome all my audience on this webinar. To begin with an introduction, I am Yogesh Huja, founder and CEO of Malls of Globe. I'm going to moderate and facilitate this webinar. Malls of Globe was established in 2018 to bring the digital transformation in physical retail. We've digitized over 370 plus malls in 8 plus countries, over 40,000 retail platforms integration. More information is available on Malls of Globe. And without wasting any time, today we have Mr. Ashok Khurana, a fashion retail and a mall management professional with over 20 plus years of experience. His diverse portfolio of working with Taj Group of Hotels, Shopper Stop, Landmark Group, Lifestyle International, Future Group, Pioneer, Phoenix Property, Market City, and currently at Beyond Square Feet, which is a mall management firm, brings on our dais to share the experience in interest of rebooting retail. So a warm welcome, Mr. Khurana. And and before I discuss in interest of all the audience, why this webinar, why reboot retail, and why this pandemic, is forcing us to do and rewrite these rules again in the retail. I would just like to give a pretext that today the retailers are struggling to adopt to the new normal. In return, the ecosystem is impacting and hurting the real estate most. When old strategies and plans are failing, we think it's time to reboot. Today's conversation will be structured into 3 categories, that is current challenges in physical retail, new strategies for offline retailers and malls, and third part would be disruption and tech adoption. So without wasting any time, I would like to put across my first question to Mr. Khurana, that when that these retailers and everybody is facing the heat of the time, I just went through your philosophy, and you said that our present wisdom is derived from our past mistakes. How do you see the COVID situation, and what should retail learn from it?
Okay. First of all, good afternoon to you, Yogesh, and good afternoon to everybody who's watching this webinar. And thank you for the lovely introduction. So first of all, your question on how do we face a pandemic, I can tell you very clearly this is an unforeseen circumstances, and particularly retail and mall industry has been impacted very badly. So we are clearly understanding that from some examples that first of all, malls are struggling to get the footfalls at the same level as before. Even after reopening and unlock 4 and now unlock 5, still footfalls are in the range of 30 to 50%, best case scenario 50%. Because the biggest point is customers or your regular people are afraid to come into malls, considering the safety aspect, considering that what kind of precautions the mall is taking to ensure that I have a safe and a comfortable environment in the mall. And that's the biggest challenge. And the mall and the retailers who can confidently answer that question, saying that we are doing everything to make sure that you have a safe environment and that you will enjoy in a similar manner like before, will be successful in this current environment. So this is the biggest challenge. I think that is what brick and mortar retail is facing, this a huge challenge.
And when you see that, COVID was never, in anybody's mind. Nobody would have thought that this kind of scenario will come where people will actually go down to their homes and all the shops would be shut.
Hmm.
uh, do you think that retailers would learn something great from it, and they would really look forward that in future, if any kind of such scenario happens, they build their business in a format where they can still do business like online people were doing it?
Correct. So I can just tell you that I'll give you one example of a mall I was handling recently. And the retailers adopted so fast because when we reopened and relaunched the mall post COVID, we had given a set of SOPs, which was not even national guidelines, international guidelines. We had given that, and they had done their best to adopt. See, because they were serious about being a part of the mall business and ensuring that they start getting business from day one. So I think retailers have learned a lot. The mall industry, as such, has learned a lot that this is an unforeseen situation. But the SOPs and systems, which now you see are part and parcel of every day, whether it is hygiene checks, whether it is temperature checks, whether it is a higher level of housekeeping and hygiene that is required today, which was not there earlier, I can tell you that. Whether it is customer or crowd control or handling customers, all these things are now become part and parcel of the retail landscape now and with the malls. So people have adopted this very quickly. I would say this has been a great learning, and now I think retailers and malls will be able to face these kind of unprecedented situation in future also because of the preparedness of what they have learned during COVID.
Right, right, right. You've been into this mall management now, and you handle these kind of people who are actually affected. And what we are talking in this webinar
Hmm.
from past couple of episodes, I interviewed, I think couple of weeks back, somebody from Express Avenue,
Okay.
and I was really happy to see that out of 220 shops, 210 shops opened the very next day because
Hmm.
they were on a revenue sharing model with their retailers.
Correct.
So how do you see that? Are these kind of things being adopted by other mall owners, and are they facing these kind of challenges in setting up such kind of business models?
Okay, so let me tell you that even with the projects I have handled recently and with people who I know in the industry, this is going to be the reality for the next 1 year. At
Okay.
least till March, at least till March. Even when I relaunched the mall, which I was handling in Meerut, it is the biggest mall in Western UP, and it had I opened 80% of the doors on day one. Can you imagine that?
Okay.
And
And
this is
what's
only
the
this,
credit for that?
and this is only because of the conviction that we told them that first of all we are safe and ready to open. So from mall side we are ready. If you open with us, you have that first mover advantage of uh, re-entering the business from day one. So they were convinced about that. The second
Right.
thing is that every retailer was brought on board and discussed with very clearly what would be the way forward. So there are two aspects. What would be the advantage or the benefit they will get because of lockdown? Obviously, we gave them a win-win situation that you don't have to pay your rent and camp during the lockdown, which is understandable. But
Right.
we also gave them a way forward for next 6 months to a year, I would say maximum till March, saying that this is what we are giving it to you so
Right.
that you are safe. We are understanding your pain and what kind of problems you're facing, and we are there to support you. So this is the language that has to be spoken with all retailers as far as malls are concerned. That we are with the retailers. So because if retailers survive and do business, the mall will
Right.
automatically gain business.
Right.
So I think a revenue share and a win-win situation is going to be the way forward with all the malls in the country.
Right.
I'm quite clear about this. That's one. Second thing is that the marketing aspect, especially the online marketing, will be a huge factor to drive sales of retailers. So that's what is working now.
Right.
So whether it is offers or online kind of a situation, how visible you are online in all the mediums is very important for retailers and
Correct.
for the mall alike.
Correct, correct. And since we are talking about the challenges, so do you think that these retailers are finding it easy, hard, or they're good at the speed at which they are going? What do you think their mind share?
I can tell you that currently retailers are facing a very difficult situation. I'll tell you that. Initially, for 1 2 months, they were facing.
Okay.
Once unlock is there, certain categories have started doing very well. I can give you very clearly, for example, F&B. F&B has started recovering numbers equivalent to pre-COVID, almost equal to pre-COVID. Because let's understand that a Burger King or a KFC or a Domino's will reach that level because of the brand value, number one, and because they are very fast to adopt into online technologies, and a very big percentage of their sales come from home deliveries, very big percentage. So one example I can tell you that even one of the malls I handled, they had started the business of online delivery even a month before we could reopen, unlock for, and they reached some level of business. So I'm saying F&B is going to do well and continue doing well.
Right.
FMCG is continuing to do well. I think a Big Bazaar or a Spar or any of the retailers which are catering to customers' daily needs
Right.
is another category that is going to do well. The difficult aspect would be in fashion, which will only peak, I think, during festive. Now, festive season has started, so you see a lot of retailers doing a lot of festive offerings, a lot of festival things.
Correct.
So you
Correct.
will see that these categories will slowly start peaking momentum.
Right.
Now,
Right.
with cinemas opening today, I don't know what the future is, to be very frank.
Correct.
So cinemas are opening today. We don't know how fast the customers will adopt in a tier one city compared to a tier two, compared to a tier three, to come and see a movie. So I was
Right.
just reading in, for example, in Bangalore, in one of the theaters, they just had 15 people on day one today.
Okay.
So it would take time for that particular category to build up, I would say.
Right, right. No, I completely understand because people, it's actually the way how we were living our lives has changed. And
Completely.
and that's something, and now it has gone to a situation where people are scared, they don't want to take risk. Even retailers are trying the best possible things, and like fitments like these cinema or the anchor stores, they were the
Mm,
only thing which were driving footfall.
absolutely.
So which is now like everybody in the industry is talking that we are on 30%, 40%, or some people are
Exactly.
talking that, but nobody is saying that we are at the same footfall. And when the footfall is not same, then definitely the outcome, or the in returns, it will affect the sales. Coming to the second category, we understand these challenges, and hearing it out from you
Mm,
makes it more evident that now it needs to be addressed in a manner which is long term, which is not short term, because people have tried their hands. Couple of retailers have gone out of business, specifically the restaurant guys. I feel
correct.
so bad. Most of the restaurants that we were loving it, and every weekend those were our destinations to be there.
Absolutely.
So I feel very, very soft at my heart that these people have put their everything. But what should be done? And then we come to an area, because at malls of globe we always think about, shopping malls are the most safest places to shop,
Correct.
because they have infra, they have closed infra, guarded infra. You have a terminology that you say in your work ethics, is that mall reorientation. That's a word that our audience would like to understand. What exactly is that mall reorientation, and then how this can be a part of a strategy to rework or come out of this situation.
So when we say mall reorientation, we want to take a mall and make it market ready or a market leader in the city or the area it is. So when we are saying reorientation, for example, if we take a mall which is struggling, when we say reorientation, we are setting up the mall to be a leader in the segment or in the area or in the city itself by aggressive marketing.
Okay.
Number one. Number two, getting the best standard SOPs or standard operating procedures and industry standards implemented in that mall, which is probably missing. Whether it is, soft services. When we say like soft service, we mean a housekeeping standard or a security standard. Whether it is the marketing, which has to be not only the best in the class, but world class. It has to give a difference to the retailers and to the mall. And then we're talking about the overall customer or consumer experience going reoriented to the new you. So these are the three, four things we do as part of what we do in our company. And also there are other aspects of reorientation when we're talking about is even the architecture aspect or even the leasing aspect. So suppose we are saying a mall is not having the right brand,
Right.
we can help you get the right brands. It's a
Right.
normal. We can say that if your mix is not right, for example, you're missing out a certain category. what could work in that particular mall. What could be the brands that could work in the wall. So we suggest you and also get you the brands on board. And also there is also refitment we do, fit out. Fit out would mean we fit out the mall in line with the industry standards.
Okay.
So these are the 3-4 things. So there are various aspects to it. There is day-to-day operation, there is marketing, there is leasing, and then there is the consumer experience as such. And also another aspect would be the architectural experience. Because a mall has to be reoriented to look like a mall.
Right.
Some developers would get a mall and just build it, and then you realize when you look at it, it's not ready to be a mall.
Right.
Does it need a spend to look like a mall?
Right.
Wider entrances,
Right.
maybe windows in your frontage which you have missed out. Maybe better lighting.
Absolutely.
So these are the things that we are saying that we will bring it to you as professionals, and then you can see the difference in the way the mall. It's not an overnight thing. It takes time. All this takes time. You have to give it time to reorient your mall to the industry standard.
Right. It reminds me that some of my experience from Europe, specifically from Finland, where we are. What happened that in 2018 there was a mall which was done by one of the amazing builder, like the top class builder, and and it was absolutely on a like there was one floor where metro was coming, one floor where the bus station was, and the mall actually got so many bad reviews just because of the architectural flaws and the bad consumer experience, because people were getting lost in that mall. And this was pre-COVID. It's not something that challenges don't come. So somebody would have invested millions and millions of dollars in constructing that thing, and then the consumer come back and say that, hey, I don't want to shop here. And then a year later, just few kilometers away from the same place where people have discarded that mall, there comes almost, I would say, 5 times the size of that mall, a new facility, which gets the eyeball of everyone. And even in this pandemic time, people are loving to go and shop there. So I'm sure the numbers are not going to be the same, because yes, that's a reality. But the architectural part and the consumer experience, because this is something which from ages people have been telling to each other, and that's fine that out of 10 few make mistake, but most of the people get it right. But when it comes to the digital aspect, which is the new fight in this category, because now from past 1 decade or more than that, there is an online versus offline war, which is there. And when in this pandemic, on one side, Amazon has gone, multiple folds, retailers have actually got a bad hit. I would like to learn from you that what is your take on digital? Because then we would be moving to the tech adoption and the next category of our discussion.
So the way forward on digitalization is that's the way of life that retailers and malls have to adopt it. There's no other way. Now, for example, when we say digitalization is going to disrupt everything, it's already started disrupting everything.
True.
So I'm very clear that the retailer and the mall industry has to adopt new technologies to ensure they continue to grow in business, and to ensure that the consumers have a safe and contactless experience.
Right.
When I'll give an example for digitalization, there is a chain of pubs which I recently visited in Bangalore. Okay. And the entire experience, and they are quite well known, I wouldn't name them right now, I'll just give you the experience. So, and everything is contactless. Can you believe it? I was quite surprised to visit that place. Right from the time you enter, you can choose your table, you can click on a QR code and view the menu, and you can order whatever you want on the menu. And that menu is delivered to you within 5 minutes. It tells you what time it's coming.
Okay.
So you're seeing how fast F&B is adopting, which is part of a mall or retail structure, how fast F&B is adopting to the new technology.
Right.
Few years back, no successful pub chain or F&B chain would have done all this. But today they have to do it.
True.
Now today I'm going to be a repeat customer there, because I'm saying I don't need to touch anything. I don't need to touch menus. I don't need to touch anything. I'm getting everything contactless. Plus I'm able to see how much time my order is coming. Plus I'm able to pay online.
Right.
Now this is a great experience. That's one. But this has to be adopted across fashion. even across all categories, F&B also. Everybody slowly started adopting that.
Right.
So we are talking about making a consumer experience touchless, contactless, more safe, more exciting.
Right.
So there are three, four aspects to it. I think digitalization is again going to be a very, very big thing for retailers and mall owners, mall industry to adapt, which is going to be a very big driving force in the entire consumer experience.
Right. I have another roundup question, which is that one, retailers think a approach of individual efforts that they make. So let's say you said F&B example, and you said that this restaurant has done this tech adoption, versus there is a collaborative approach where all the retailers, like today when you get into a shopping mall, all the retailers collectively say that they will be paying for security. They collectively say that they will be paying for air conditioning. So do you think that it is also possible for them to collaborate and bring something? Because today what I see and what I feel is that as a mall, which is the outer canvas and everything for that place, it lacks the consumer connect, because the consumer, I know there are 50,000 people walking in this weekend, but I really don't know who they are. They are just walking in. I can always say that I am doing such and such promotion. I'm a mall developer and I put all my best efforts. I give full page advertisements in newspaper and wherever possible, but I don't count them. I don't retain them. I don't acquire them. So do you think that there is a collaborative effort that should be done in this category, and people should actually come together and say that, hey, tomorrow onwards, I would be ready to pay a monthly bill of X like I pay for my electricity, and give me the power of digital?
That's a very interesting point you put across, Mr. Yogesh, and I must applaud you for that question, which is exactly what I've been thinking. See, without collaboration between retailer and mall, nothing will work. Excellent thought what you have. Now, already historically, the mall industry has been adopting a lot of things with the retailers. If you see any big box retailer, it will always be adopting marketing strategies along with the mall. So suppose one week, let's say Shoppers Stop says, I'm going to do something for your mall. So the gain is to the mall and the gain is to Shoppers Stop. Both are collaborating.
Right.
So 1 week they advertise. The following week, the mall says, okay, I'll do a shopping festival, which will drive your business.
Right.
So I think already traditionally a CAM structure, which is a common area maintenance, already puts up a lot of these parameters. When you're talking security, housekeeping, air conditioning, clean toilets, lighting, common area, lifts, escalators. You're talking about the entire experience already being factored into the CAM.
True.
And marketing also in some of the most successful malls are also factored in, which I have seen also in my experience. So they even take a portion of marketing,
right?
And marketing is done in such a way where they are very confidently paying that money, saying, okay, I would pay, for example, this much money in a Phoenix or a high street Phoenix, or in a large mall where I'm actually getting the returns back, where I'm actually seeing things happening.
Right.
So yes, going forward, if tech is available with the mall industry, they should share it with the retailers, and I'm sure retailers, if they see the value to it, they're willing to pay a small cost to it. There's not a problem.
Correct.
If they see a value, they very clearly see that, okay, this tech is helping me know how many customers are coming into the mall. So this tech is helping me understand what is the profile of the customer. There's also some companies, some malls are bringing in apps like that, where for the future, where the customer walks in and they know exactly who's walking in. I'm sure it's already there in European countries and in some of the malls in Dubai. I think India will soon adopt that also.
Correct. In fact, as a matter of fact, that Malls of Globe is a cloud-based platform and mobility platform to build these kind of things. And these 370 malls that we have digitized, mainly in the US and European region, they are using the same infra. But the very important point is that value, because the most critical part is that when we talk about retail investments, whether it is in technology, whether it is infra, at the end of the day, I'm a retailer or I'm a mall developer. I need a ROI. And specifically when I say the last session that I did was a monologue kind of a thing. And I specifically actually ran through a ROI calculator, and we were talking to one of the large client in the aviation, actually an airport, So we were talking to them, and they said that what is the ROI, and what benefit can you offer with the help of digital adoption or digital transformation. So I said that, let's say you were selling $100, so you might be selling 150. So this is the answer that anybody would expect, that okay, fine, if I invest in you, some amount in technology, and within 2 years I would start selling in this manner. But my answer was that, if you're selling $100 today, and if you don't adopt digital, you would be selling 50. So my point is that, the main agenda of reviving and discussing this thing is that we have touch points in 8+ countries, and I've seen these experiences in all parts of the world, that people want to taste this amazing recipe, but either they are hesitant or they don't have a mind share. And this mind share will go away with the power of knowledge, which I believe is that which will come with the time. Because when I say that Amazon was not built overnight, Amazon today was in debt for 20 years.
Oh,
but it was, a lot of people don't know that.
Yeah, I mean, I was not aware of that.
Yeah, 20 years it was powered by the government, the US government, and they were funding heavily all these tech startups who are like Flipkarts and Amazon. These people are like heavily funded. So tomorrow, as a retailer, I cannot go and say that I'm going to start a website and I say that I am going to be bigger than Amazon. No, you cannot be, because they have invested 2 decades and amazing amount of time and energy in those processes. But what is required is that I'm a mall and I want my 5 kilometers of areas to be addressable. So my addressable target audience is where. So I would like to come to the last leg of this thing, is that how do you think that these digital techniques or digital tools are being adopted by these retailers? And do you think that, in country like India, or country which are APAC region countries, which are typically developing countries where mall culture, do you think that these people can learn faster, or their speed would be slower? This speed question is very critical. A lot of people have asked me over the chat.
All right. So my take on this is, because I worked in about 8 cities in India. So my experience is across Tier 1, Tier 2 and Tier 3. So my answer to this would be, how ready is the city or the target audience to accept this? But let me tell you, if tech in Bangalore, Pune and Chennai will be very fast adopted, or Hyderabad. I'm just giving some examples.
Right.
I'm giving some example. It will be very fast, very, very immediately, and in a very fast pace, it will be adopted because of your clientele.
Right.
So you are addressing a target group which is in a Tier 1 city, in a premium area, and you understand your customer, that this customer is adopted. But if you tell me, will this be very fast and quick to adopt in a Tier 3 city, I would say that it may take a little time, but they will understand.
Sure.
It will take a little time. Sure. If they understand the value of it and how useful this is, I'm sure that technology will be adopted across the industry in India. But again, I'm telling you, it depends on your target audience, where you're located. Example, if this is done in Koromangala in Bangalore, or in Whitefield in Bangalore, where Phoenix is there or VR is there, any tech is very quickly adopted, because you're catering to that audience.
Right.
So there's a wow factor, and I'm saying, and someone is walking in, like I got impressed. I said, wow, this is worth a repeat, because I'm easily impressed by it. So will this work in a Tier 3? Yes, it will, provided that you give it a little time for people to adapt to it. That's it.
Right.
It's going to work in India. There's no problem.
Right. Absolutely. Everybody sees the 1 billion consumer market in India, and specifically with telco partners like Jio and these huge partnerships where it has really bent down a lot of bigger digital players like Facebook to invest into this thing. I see definitely the adoption is going to come very fast, because we've actually jumped a few decades after our revolution, which was like computers to mobile phone, and now everybody is connected on digital stuff. This brings us to the closing side, and I would love to hear a closing remark from you. What do you want to convey to the retail and retailers?
Well, I think this has been a very interesting session. My only message is to all retailers and to the industry as such is, hang in there. Good times are ahead, and be positive minded always. I'm sure the way the economy is, India is, you guys will bounce back very fast. So all the best.
Perfectly. Thanks, Mr. Ashok Khurana, for your valuable time. And it was lovely talking to you. And I love to interact more in upcoming webinars and new series.
Thank you so much, Mr. Yogesh. It's my pleasure to be here. And thank you so much for inviting me. You have a great evening. Thank you so much.
All right. Take care.